Good day, everyone, and welcome to the ThermoGenesis Holdings conference call and webcast to review financial and operating results for the first quarter ended March 31st, 2020. As a reminder, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end of today's presentation. If you would like to ask a question, please press star and then 1 on your touch-tone phones. If you wish to withdraw your question, you may press star and 2. If you should need assistance during the conference call, you may signal an operator by pressing star and 0. As a reminder, today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I'd like to turn the conference call over to our host, Paula Schwartz of RX Communications. Ma'am, please go ahead.
Thank you, operator. This conference call contains forward-looking statements within the meaning of the federal securities laws. The company's actual results may differ materially from those projected in the forward-looking statements. Additional information concerning factors that might cause actual results to differ materially from those in the forward-looking statements is contained in the company's periodic reports filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The information presented today is time-sensitive and is accurate only as of the date of this call, May 14, 2020. If any portion of this call is being rebroadcast, retransmitted, or redistributed at a later date, ThermoGenesis will not be reviewing or updating this material. Participating on today's call are Dr. Chris Xu, Chief Executive Officer, and Jeff Cobble, Chief Financial Officer. I'd now like to turn the call over to Chris. Please go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Paula, and thank you to everyone for joining the call this afternoon. We appreciate you taking the time to listen in. I'm pleased to note that we continue to improve our operational and financial performance throughout the first quarter of 2020. In particular, our net revenue rose to $3.2 million, an 8% increase compared to the same quarter of 2019, while gross profit increased to $1.5 million, a 19% improvement compared to the same period last year. Cash on hand has reached $5.7 million at the end of first quarter, which was up 78% compared to the beginning of the year and up 155% compared to the same period last year. An increased revenue, gross profit, and cash on hand would demonstrate a greater financial stability of the company. As a reminder, the company's core business competence still resides in its cutting-edge automated medical devices and systems for the cell and gene therapy field. We continue to make impacts in the field with our core automated cellular processing products. It's also this technology platform as a whole that helps us to make our future fight against COVID-19 possible. Our cellular processing platform consists of 1. The CAR-T Express platform, based on an innovative buoyancy-activated cell sorting technology, or BACS. The BACS technology is a patent-protected, high-efficiency cell sorting technology using lipid microbubbles. The BACS technology is a key component of the CAR-T Express technology platform, which is intended to address the critical unmet needs for large-scale cellular processing and manufacturing of the cell-based therapeutics, such as CAR-T therapies. 2. Our AXP/BioArchive platform for clinical biobanking. It is one of the best recognized brands in the field, which allows for automated processing and cryo storage of the cord blood and clinical samples. 3. Our PXP platform for point-of-care applications, which allows for automated processing of autologous peripheral blood and bone marrow-derived stem cells at the point-of-care locations such as surgical centers or clinics. It also allows isolation of different cell fractions from the blood simultaneously. For example, the simultaneous isolation of convalescent plasma and immune cells. The robust product line with a strong focus in the cell gene therapy has positioned ThermoGenesis as the market leader for cell banking and cell therapy, which will sustain our growth beyond this COVID-19 pandemic. As you all well know, the world COVID-19 pandemic has now affected more than 200 countries and regions, resulting over 1.4 million reported cases and more than 85,000 deaths in the United States alone. The disease has spread rapidly, causing a tremendous impact on the U.S. healthcare system and leading to immense societal disruption. The public health threat posed by COVID-19 remains extremely high, both in the U.S. and globally. In order to respond to the challenges imposed by this global pandemic, during the first quarter of 2020, working together with our joint venture partner, ImmuneSight, we began mobilizing our expertise and global resources in the medical technology field to develop a systemic approach and strategy to fight against COVID-19 virus. On March 31st, we submitted notification to U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, with the intention to register and market the COVID-19 IgG/IgM antibody fast detection kit. In accordance to the Section 4.D of the Policy for Diagnostic Tests for Coronavirus Disease-2019 during the public health emergency, issued by FDA on March 16, 2020. In short, the Policy D. The test will hereby refer to as the rapid antibody test below. On April 15th, the company received an acknowledged letter from FDA confirming that the ThermoGenesis COVID-19 rapid antibody test has been appropriately validated for distribution under the Policy D guideline. As of May, the company has already started to ship out our rapid antibody test to fill pre-orders and incoming orders. Additionally, we have also completed submission of additional information to the FDA requiring reviews of the COVID-19 rapid antibody test under the emergency use authorization pathway, and we are still awaiting for the agency's response. The rapid antibody test is designed to uncover anti-COVID-19 IgM/IgG antibody using a single droplet of blood and can deliver results in under 10 minutes at an expected cost for less than $30. If the entire nation is to be tested, then we estimate that over 330 million tests could be needed in the U.S. alone, and global demands continue to increase. We currently have manufacturing capacity to produce 100,000 tests per day and can scale up manufacturing to 3 times that amount if needed. The COVID-19 rapid antibody test detects the antibody in patients in response to COVID-19 infection. The test can be used for pre-screening for COVID-19 patients and also for identification of individuals who have encountered virus in the past and developed an antibody response. The antibody response is part of the person's protective immunity that fight against the virus. Our rapid antibody test stands apart from other DNA-based tests on the market, as it does not require sophisticated laboratory instruments, and the test results can be available in under 10 minutes. The format of this test resembles a home pregnancy test that many people are familiar with. The ability to quickly identify individuals who have developed antibodies or protective immunity is essential information as we look to reopen our society or our economy. The second part of our COVID-19 strategy is to develop a multi-tiered antibody approach, along with our ImmuneSite joint venture partner, to address critical unmet medical needs in both prophylactic, means preventive, and therapeutic intervention of the disease. Taking advantage of the rapid antibody test we have, along with the proprietary cellular processing platform we have developed and perpetuated over the past decade, we are able to bridge engineered ingenuity with immunological know-how to develop various therapeutic approaches that may help fighting this disease. This multi-tiered antibody approach is synergistic with our diagnostic tools and also differentiate us from other test manufacturers for COVID-19. The areas that we are working on is the convalescent plasma and therapeutic antibody field. Convalescent plasma therapy is an exploratory approach that involves giving patients an injection of the plasma from people who have recovered from COVID-19. Convalescent plasma therapy has been used in the past against several other known viruses, such as Ebola, SARS, MERS, and influenza H1N1 virus, and have demonstrated with limited case improving survival rates and lowering hospital stays for patients with SARS in the past. Our plan is to screen and identify people with high titers of anti-COVID-19 antibodies, followed by using our company's proprietary automated cell processing platform to simultaneously isolate convalescent plasma and immune cells. The convalescent plasma can be used alone or to produce polyclonal antibody therapies, which further mitigates the donor variabilities among individual convalescent plasma. Just a reminder, our ImmuneSite joint venture has also recently acquired worldwide intellectual properties for the development of fully human monoclonal antibody therapeutics for COVID-19, including 4 high-affinity monoclonal antibody drug candidates against the COVID-19 virus. These monoclonal antibody drug candidates under development by our 19% owned joint venture, ImmuneSite, will further complement the convalescent plasma and polyclonal antibody approach that our company is undertaking. In summary, our comprehensive COVID-19 strategy, combining our rapid antibody test, our convalescent plasma, and polyclonal antibody therapeutic approach using our established proprietary cell processing technologies, and our joint venture ImmuneSite's recent acquired technology to develop fully human monoclonal antibody during the monoclonal antibody drug candidate, differentiate us from many other test manufacturers and put us at the forefront in the fight against the global COVID-19 pandemic. With that, let me turn the call over to Jeff to share the key financial results from the first quarter. Jeff?
Thank you, Chris. Net revenues for the 3 months ended March 31st, 2020 were $3.2 million compared to $3 million for the 3 months ended March 31st, 2019, an increase of $200,000 or 8%. The increase was driven by AXP disposable sales, which increased by $0.9 million in the first quarter of 2020, with approximately 400 more cases sold as compared to the same period last year. The increase was offset by a decrease of approximately $500,000 in BioArchive device sales and a slight decrease in manual disposables and CAR T Express sales. Gross profit was $1.5 million, or 47% of net revenues, for the 3 months ended March 31, 2020, compared to $1.3 million, or 42% of net revenues, for the 3 months ended March 31st, 2019, an increase of $200,000, or 19%. The increase was driven by revenue recognized from the Corning exclusivity fee in the first quarter of 2020, which added approximately 2 points to the gross margin percentage and increased gross profit from AXP disposables. Sales and marketing expenses for 3 months ended March 31, 2020 were $0.4 million compared to $0.3 million for the 3 months ended March 31, 2019, an increase of $100,000 or 30%. The increase was driven by higher salaried expenses and benefits in the first quarter of 2020 as compared to the same period in 2019. Research and development expenses were just over $0.6 million for the 3 months ended March 31, 2020, compared to just under $0.6 million for the 3 months ended March 31, 2019, resulting in an increase of $46,000 or 8%. The increase was driven by higher employee benefit expenses in the first quarter of 2020 as compared to the same period in 2019. General and administrative expenses for the 3 months ended March 31, 2020 were $1.6 million, compared to $1.3 million for the 3 months ended March 31, 2019, an increase of approximately $300,000. The increase was driven by legal and other expenses related to the Mavericks lawsuit, employee benefit expenses, and increased expenses related to the filing of the company's 2019 10-K. Interest expense for the 3 months ended March 31, 2020 were $3.5 million, as compared to $1.1 million for the 3 months ended March 31, 2019, an increase of $2.4 million. The increase was driven by $2.5 million in accelerated non-cash amortization of the remaining unamortized debt discount associated with the portions of the Boy Life revolving credit agreement which were converted in the first quarter of 2020. For the quarter ended March 31, 2020, the company reported a comprehensive loss to common stockholders of $4.6 million, or $1.11 per share, based on 4,135,644 weighted average basic and diluted common shares outstanding. This compares to a comprehensive net loss of $1.9 million, or 76 cents per share, based on 2,461,415 weighted average basic and diluted common shares outstanding for the quarter ended March 31, 2019. In addition to the results reported under U.S. GAAP, the company also uses a non-GAAP measure, adjusted EBITDA, to evaluate operating performance and to facilitate the comparison of historical results and trends. The company uses the metrics to best approximate operational cash flow. Adjusted EBITDA loss for the quarter ended March 31, 2020 was $0.9 million, as compared to a loss of $0.6 million for the quarter ended March 31, 2019, a decrease of $300,000. The primary driver of the lower adjusted EBITDA was a $300,000 increase in general and administrative expenses. At March 31, 2020, the company had cash and cash equivalents totaling $5.7 million, compared with $3.2 million at December 31, 2019, an increase of 78%. Working capital also improved up to $6.9 million at March 31, 2020, as compared to $3.2 million at December 31, 2019. This concludes our prepared remarks. So now we'd like to open the call to your questions. Operator?
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now begin the question and answer session. To ask a question, you may press star and then 1 using a touch-tone telephone. If you are using a speakerphone, we do ask you please pick up the handset before pressing the keys. To withdraw your questions, you may press star and 2. Once again, that is star and then 1 to ask a question. We'll pause momentarily to assemble the roster. And our first question today comes from Sean Lee from H.C. Wainwright. Please go ahead with your question.
Good afternoon, Chris and Jeff, and thanks for taking my questions.
Hi, Sean.
My first question is on the company's existing businesses. So in 2019, you guys signed a global supply agreement with Corning, and that was expected to become a big driver of the company's growth over time. So I was wondering, how has that turned out so far? Has that been significantly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic as well, or is it progressing as planned?
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Sean, for bringing this question. So as people are known that in 2019, we signed a global distribution with Corning to distribute our X series of products. And we expect to launch this product actually this year. But just like everybody is impacted by the sudden COVID-19 pandemic, Corning being headquartered in the state of New York, it certainly hit, I guess, pretty hard. So with all the social distancing and home officing ongoing, although we are still keeping the line open to facilitate all the marketing preparation and needs, certainly we can see a slowdown in the activity in that front.
Thanks.
But I think with globally the entire business start to reopen through different regions, we are cautiously optimistic about this entire collaboration.
Okay, thanks for the additional color. Now moving on to the COVID-19 diagnostic. So after the FDA has approved it for marketing in April, I was just wondering whether you had any orders come in, or whether you've seen a lot of inbound interest, and what exactly is the company's commercial strategy for the product? Would you be try to market it yourself, or would you be looking for regional distributors?
Yeah. Okay. With regards to our COVID-19 diagnostic kit, our strategy is mainly going to distribute this through distribution channels. So at this moment, we do not anticipate to build a direct in-house team on that. We do have received various interests and from various different sides of potential orders. So as we are released in this earning call, we start to ship in early May, and we start to fill some of these pre-orders and incoming orders. Just a reminder to everybody, I think although the potential market size we can see could be significant, but also this line of business is impacted by various risks, and that are including some of we could foresee, and also some risks that we cannot initially foresee. That are including the availability of labor, workforces, and availability of global shipping logistics and so on. So when we are getting close to marketing this within U.S., also globally, we got to mitigate through all those impacts throughout the world, and some of those impacts, including shipping logistics, we see could potentially impact our delivery as well. But the good thing is we already start shipping out.
Yes, I see. That was helpful. And my final question is on what upcoming events. So I was wondering, what would you consider to be the major milestones that investors could look forward to over the next 6 to 12 months from the company?
Foremost is still our diagnostic kit, because a lot of people see this as a key to reopen our society and reopen our economy. And we want to satisfy that. And we think the demand will be high. So that's our number one goal. But for the next 6 months, we also want to look beyond that, the diagnostic kit. As we said, we are looking to various different systemic approach to fight against this COVID-19. And that will be including some of the convalescent plasma and polyclonal antibody that address a significant unmet need in the therapeutic side. So we are looking at this as a tier-based strategy, we are launching different products along the way.
Thank you. That's all I have.
And our next question comes from Charles Putman, who is retail. Please go ahead with your question.
Hi. You mentioned that you're filling pre-orders. You began to fill pre-orders. Can you give us an idea of, maybe the volume or number? And can you also speak to what you expect to hear from the FDA and what the timeline on that is?
Sure. We have we start to ship out May. We are, as I said, there's a more complicated global shipping logistics because U.S. most of the states were still closed or semi-closed. We are not still fully open in the states here. So there's availability of a working force here in the states. So we still depend quite significantly on overseas manufacture, which will depend not only on the manufacturer and also shipping logistics. So we are just start to get our orders filled because we need to get the products in at this moment. So we have just from the beginning of the May we shipped more than 10,000 testing kit, but I think that the realistic number should be bigger because with the need. And on the FDA side, the product is available to sell under Policy D, which I described in the script early. But we also file for an additional pass, which is emergency use authorization, and that's we have already received the pre-assigned number for that, but we are waiting for FDA to give us further feedbacks. We don't have a timeline because knowing FDA is having a pretty long list to deal with various different fronts. So routinely that will be 2 weeks, but at this moment we don't have a timeline.
Okay, thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, in showing no additional questions, I'd like to turn the conference call back over to Dr. Xu for any closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, operator. We look forward to updating you on our progresses in the coming months, and thank you to everyone who participated on today's call and for your interest in ThermoGenesis Holding.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we'll conclude today's conference call. We do thank you for joining. You may now disconnect your line.